Hello and welcome everyone for this special interaction with Mr. Hans-Bernd Kittlaus, Chairperson of International Software Product Management Association.
Hello, everybody.
This is special, Hans-Bernd, for the simple reason that ISPMA has completed 4 years of the community activities in India. So,
congratulations.
Thank you very much. And I would like to have an open interaction with you since you have been involved with this India community right from day one. Try and pick your mind and see what all the kind of events and people and interactions left a good image on you and what you see from your vantage point of view, interacting with the global product management community. How does India look, and what do you feel about what we're doing in India in terms of building the excellence in product management? So that's what we're going to do. Any initial remarks from you, Hans-Bernd, and then I'll take you to a rapid fire.
Yeah, well, ISPMA started in 2009. I was one of the founding members, and at that time it was a small group of experts from both academia and the industry. And we started with the objective to establish software product management excellence on both sides, the industry and academia. And we created what we call the body of knowledge on software product management. And actually, India was one of the first countries outside of Europe where ISPMA put a focus on. And that started in 2017. And I'm very happy that we can celebrate the 4th anniversary of the Indian chapter of ISPMA.
Well, so on that note, let me quickly take you to a rapid fire round. Let me share my screen so that you could see questions. And I'm sure you have very good memories of many of your interactions. I guess you would have done at least a dozen trips, if I'm not wrong, to India.
Yes, between early 2017 and the beginning of the Corona crisis in 2020, I had a dozen trips to India. Yes.
That's quite a lot. So, you know, many of our friends in the board, ISPMA board, they say you should get a honorary citizenship of India, you know, with the kind of visits you do. So this is one of the first visuals I would like to show you. And so what were your early impressions of your very first visit and trying to meet up with product professionals here and Indian product industry until we launched formally the ISPMA community here?
Yeah, I was amazed from the very beginning about the situation of the software industry in India. I mean, from a European perspective, I had known how strong India has been for a long time in the area of professional services and the software industry. But seeing that firsthand, how strong the trend towards software products in India is and how much focus the subject of software products is getting in India on all levels. I mean, on a government level, on a university level, on an industry level, on a startup level. So that has been really amazing. And I'm very happy that we started this initiative out of ISPMA and have found ways and are still finding ways how to help the Indian software industry to improve their skills and practices in software product management.
Okay, so I'm sure this is the easiest of all, but some memories about this.
Yeah, I think that was at this inaugural session, and we used that session also to introduce the latest book on software product management that I co-wrote, which is also a textbook that can be used with ISPMA-based trainings. And so that has been available in India as well. So I
Yeah,
recognize,
it wasn't.
I do recognize the two of us.
No, thanks for the honors for me to, you know, launch along with you here in India that book. And many of the courses which we do, we do use the book, and it's indeed pretty useful. Well, I'm sure you can recollect many of the volunteers who were the first.
Yes, that I think that was at the same session. I see Havinder Singh on the left side. He has been an early supporter and still is. He has participated in a number of my trainings, and he has been a speaker at our SPM Summit conference. I see Ankita at the bottom there, who has helped us a lot in the early days. I see Lokesh Tripathi on the right side. Uh, he he has also been an early supporter, and I think his team at Intuit has won our SPM Excellence Award in the meantime. So good memories.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this was taken at IIMB. I see Scott Miller in the middle. He's one of ISPMA's fellow members, and he joined me in India. And whenever we go to India, we try to also do a session with your students at IIMB. These are the students of the SPM course, right?
Yes, and in fact, 2018 was when IIMB started offering formal elective as part of MBA, software product management, and we always had guest speakers, experts from different parts of the world. You were there in a couple of batches, and Scott is a guru in pricing. He's from Canada, and so he was in India, and we leveraged the opportunity to have him deliver a guest lecture. And Scott also has been member of the advisory board of ISPMA India. He's been very supportive. Last edition of the SPM Summit, he was also program chair. So sitting in Canada, he was able to work with us all.
Yes.
Yes, this is some of the names you would definitely not be able to recollect, but let's see.
Well, I think this is a photo from the first SPM Summit conference that we had in cooperation with IIMB. I see Som on the left side. He is partner of a VC firm in Bangalore and also a member of our advisory board. I also see Sanjay K, second from the right side. He has become a fellow member of ISPMA in the meantime. So yeah, that's how we started the SPM Summit. I think this was 2018.
This was 2018, yes. 2019 summit, actually.
19.
19, 20, and 21. 19 was the
Yeah, that's
first
right.
one.
Yeah.
And, in fact, this was a session of what were the kind of best practices. In fact, Som himself was the CEO of a product company and, a practicing product manager before that. And all of them are industry leaders, the ones in between from large product companies. In fact, unfortunately, Tridib, who is in the blue t-shirt in the middle, he's no more. Tridib Chaudhary was instrumental in bringing product management into curriculum in Triple IT as well, along with Professor Saragopan. He was very supportive. And so this was an interaction between industry practitioners, the last one being a founder of a startup in cybersecurity.
Mm.
So this was an interaction which so moderated between experts, how the product management varies, the big fish and small fish, so to say, in the large companies and the smaller companies. This should be easy for you.
Yes, that was the beginning of the 2020 SPM Summit, and Professor Raj Bandi is igniting the flame here. And I see Professor Saragopan between the two of us. So that was a good start of the 2020 conference.
Yeah, in fact, in the background, you can see Professor Abhay Oja, who is the Dean programs, who encouraged essentially the product management elective in IIM Bangalore. And yes, Professor Raj Bandi has been an excellent support. He was the co-chair of the event, SPM Summit, and he encouraged and driven that. And also, actually, he was instrumental in bringing in the academic conference on the side, along with the industry event in SPM Summit. So that's about Professor Raj Bandi. I do not know whether you remember.
Yeah, I think this is Payal Arora.
Wow.
She was one of our keynote speakers. She actually is a professor at the Erasmus University in Rotterdam in the Netherlands, originally
Right.
from India. And that was a very exciting talk.
Yeah, in fact, she is a digital anthropologist and she's written a popular book. It's incidentally next to me, The Next Billion Users. Very interesting take on how the internet is changing in the emerging world and how applications and technology has to be tuned for the next billion. Wonderful session that was in 2020.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm among some very illustrious professors in the front row here. I see Professor Rahul Dey, who was very supportive of our cooperation, Professor Saragopan from Triple ITB, and Professor Bandi on the right side.
Yes, we were interacting, in fact, Professor Sadagopan, who is the director of IITB, and he moderated a CEO panel. In fact, a gentleman sitting next to him is head of products from TCS, product called Banks, and there were interesting interactions in terms of how different products have emerged out of India. You had Finacle, you had banks, and so it was a very, very interesting, insightful interaction. So you already talked about Professor Sadagopan. In fact, he outlined in that session the genesis of the products in India, because he has been a great supporter, cheerleader, evangelist for products out of India.
Mm-hmm.
And in my own life as a head of products elsewhere, so he was very encouraging and supportive. So it was very interesting that, he outlined how India was always the engineering capital for products, and, how we needed to look at bringing in the product management maturity dimension to take it to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you alluded to this a little bit when you were talking about the early volunteers. So maybe you would like to speak a little more on this picture.
Yes, this was the award session for the SPM Excellence Awards. And Professor Bandi and myself, we gave an award to a team from Intuit. And I see Lucas Tripathi here, who is a manager with Intuit. And I think this was one of his teams, his product teams.
Right. So in fact, Excellence Awards has been a great hit, which thanks to you and ISPMA board, you were ready to do this in India, though this is not being done at a global scale. But this has brought in, true to our spirit of ISPMA, not only promoting but celebrating the excellence and showcase the good product management teams working out of India, if it is a global product or local products as well. So we have had some amazing nominations year after year in the last 3 years, and some amazing winners as well, and all of them sharing the best practices at the summit. And I think lots of them came back and said that, look, this was very useful doing these best practices as well, in addition to other sessions in SPM Summit. Yes, Intuit won twice into different categories, and of course there were other companies, Citrix, SAP, Clarify, and many other good product companies out of India as well won these awards. Yes, you would know him.
Yes, he was one of our early supporters, Professor Rishi Krishna. So he moderated one of the sessions of that SPM Summit. I think in the meantime, he has become the director of IIMB and is still one of our supporters.
Yes, Professor Rishi, actually, even in a very, very early days of when we were doing Finacle, he was, as a professor of strategy, he did cover case studies on, he observed Finacle, and he was very enthusiastic and encouraging. And in all the three summits, he participated. In the first one, he led a panel on innovation. In the second one, he was a member of the jury for the awards. And in fact, the latest one, he was there as the director, despite having many commitments. He was there for inauguration, and went through many of the sessions. A great supporter, and of course, he's been on the advisory board for ISPMA India. So amazing to have him in the advisory board.
Absolutely.
So this is what Rishi's session was on, Professor Rishi's session on innovation. Any insights, if you recollect?
Yeah, I remember that was a very interesting session where the participants talked about their approaches to innovation inside their organizations. So I took away quite some good input that in the meantime I've also used in some of my material.
Yeah, in fact, the gentleman sitting next to Professor Rishi is the founder CEO of ToneTag, which is a very innovative company. How do you, using the voice, the sound waves, how do you validate information instead of just infrared? And these are all products emanating out of India. The leftmost extreme is one of the very popular travel, ticketing website, product manager for that, and then one of them, a UX expert. So very interesting and practical insights. How does the product management promote innovation and across the versions of a product, and how do you manage to find budgets for innovation in your
Mm.
products? That was the theme of the discussion. You
Yeah,
would remember
that's Sindhu. I think her last name was
Sindhu
Gangadhar.
Gangadhar.
Yeah,
Sindhu Gangadhar. Wow, you remember.
uh, yeah. She used to work for SAP in Germany for a long time, and I think shortly before the 2020 summit, she had returned to India and became the head of SAP India Labs. And we had her as a keynote speaker at that summit, which was excellent.
Yes, in fact, Dipton died, the product manager, who had the roots of, and she built a wonderful organization here in India, as well as, she has lots of practical insights. Lots of
Yeah.
product managers came back and loved the session. Yes, you were saying something.
Well, I mean, I know she told me that she had worked as a product manager with SAP in her early days in Germany.
Yeah, in fact, SAP has been very proactive in sponsoring the summit, as well as platinum sponsor that year. And she was personally there to cheer her teams who were winning the award as well in that year. And yes, in fact, SAP uh, do take product management, the focus on the structured product management, bringing in the innovations in that. So that session was very interesting and very useful.
Hmm.
I do not have Kitty's group picture because he was there in this year's, because of the COVID, we had this March only the virtual event. So you would know him?
Of course, yeah. That's Kitty Subarao. He is the head of Finacle product management and strategy. He has been a great supporter. Uh, he has been with us at the SPM Summit conferences. He gave a keynote at the latest one this year. And he has become a friend and a great cooperator for us in India.
Right, and Finacle was sponsored this year's SPM Summit as a platinum sponsor. Yes, you are partners this summit. You as a co-chair, you worked with some of them.
Yes, we already talked about Professor Rishi and Professor Raj. On the lower left side, we have Professor Shankar Venkatagiri, who was my co-chair at this year's SPM Summit conference. Great cooperation. I really enjoyed that. And in spite of all the restrictions due to the COVID situation, I think we came up with a fantastic conference, which had to be a pure online event. But I and I think the whole conference team was very happy with the outcome.
Great. So let me then pause that. I think you did fabulously well. I never expected that you would remember not only so many names, and you knew and you remember each and every detail of the sessions as well. Quite impressive. And